Hey everyone, what's up and welcome to another episode of Let's Build with CodeSmash. And today we have a fan favorite bubble episode, which means that we are actually going to show how you can use CodeSmash with Bubble. So basically what we're going to do is create an app in Bubble, and when it comes to the data, instead of storing the data in Bubble, we are actually going to offload that to CodeSmash. So our data that's going to be shown on the UI is actually going to be stored and retrieved from CodeSmash. You can see here that we're actually building a restaurant website. So basically you can just add the restaurants that you like. You can write some reviews, and you can then look up the data that you've added. So what we are actually going to add are 3 pages. So first page is actually going to show you all the data that you've added, right? So the restaurant reviews, and also there's going to be an update page, right? So that you can change your reviews later on. So as you can see, you'll be able to add a name of the restaurant. You'll be able to save it. It's going to send us back to the initial index page. And yeah, of course, we are going to add a delete button as well so that we can remove the restaurant if we want. So that's pretty much it. Lastly, of course, we have to add a add review page, which means you'll be able to also add new restaurants as well. I think the best way to start is to just demonstrate how we're going to actually implement this. So let's add a Japanese restaurant just for an example, like just a simple review, nothing special. And let's now go and find an image that's going to represent this restaurant. Let's type in Japanese restaurant. We can see, yeah, there are some images here. Let's take a nice one. Okay, this one looks good. Let's just click here, open the image. Fine. Just take the URL, right? And let's go back to our app, just paste in the URL and click save. Obviously, we are going to be sent back. If we scroll down, you can clearly see our restaurant has been added to the page. So guys, now that we know what we need to build, let's see how we're going to implement this. Basically, we are going to need to save some data. And you can clearly see here that we have a save button, and this is the data that we're going to have to save. And also there's going to be a delete button as well, which means we are going to be able to delete the review that we want. If that's the case, let's go to CodeSmash and start deploying our API. So now that we're here on the CodeSmash page, the only thing we have to do is pretty much just go to deploy app. We can give a name to our restaurants, something simple like My Restaurant API. And make sure you don't forget you need to select the REST API because this is what you want to deploy. Everything else is fine. Let's just click deploy. And once this is deployed, it's probably going to take around 2 minutes, but once it's deployed, we can just go and start building the actual routes for the API. Yeah, this has started being deployed, and our restaurant API is right here. Let's have a look at what it looks like. So here we can see that it was deployed successfully, and we can now go to the API Builder and start adding our routes. So let it just load for a while. This is going to be done in a couple of seconds, and yeah, we can now proceed. It's been deployed successfully. So here we are actually going to just add the restaurants routes, and let's add this quickly. And note that we have 5 routes. Each of these are going to deal with one specific case, either with adding a new restaurant, getting back the restaurants to our website, updating them, or deleting the actual restaurant. So now that this has started deploying, we can just move quickly to Bubble and see what our website actually looks like. On our main page is a repeating group. So this is basically an element that's going to be showing all the restaurants. So we have an image. We also have a title. This is the name of the restaurant, and also the info part. So this info part is basically going to show us the review of the restaurant. Now that we know what data we actually need, let's quickly switch to CodeSmash and start adding some restaurants to our database. We'll start with the post method right here, and let's add an ID. This is going to be the ID of our restaurant. So this is just for testing purposes. And so the three pieces of data we're going to add into the body part. So the first is going to be the name, right? So we need a name for our restaurant. Let's just add whatever, right? So the second one's going to be the info field, and this one's going to hold the actual review of the restaurant. Also, don't forget we also need the photo for the banner. And now that we know what we need, we can just add some temporary, test values. Once we've added that, let's just add some values right here. And then we're going to add the name of the restaurant. It's going to be the Japanese restaurant. And yeah, inside this one's going to be in Osaka. Make sure that it's actually the photo that needs to have the URL. And the info is just going to have a simple review, nothing special. Once that's added, we can try to add the restaurant to the database. And let's see how this works. And yeah, this is success. So we've successfully added the restaurant. Let's see if it's in our database. Just try this route. Okay, yeah. So this is the list of all the restaurants. We only have one. And now we need to pull this data into Bubble. So let's take this restaurants route, and note that this is a get method. And in our Bubble, let's quickly go to plugins and make sure to add right here, take the API connector and install it, right? So once it's installed, you can start adding your API. Let's call it the restaurants API. This is fine. And you have right here your first call. So let's call this get all restaurants, right? So this one is going to just pull all the restaurants from our database and leave the data type as JSON, because this is what we're getting back. And yeah, it's already a get method. And the only thing that we need is the actual URL of our API. And make note that we need the restaurants URL fragment. So now we're just going to type this in, right? So it's the restaurants route. Fine, and we need to initialize the call. And yeah, we're getting back the data. As you can see, it's connected to Bubble. So all the fields that we have in the database are right here, and the values are here. So Bubble knows what the data type actually looks like. Okay, so quickly, let's go to our design page and see how we can connect this to our website. So what do we need to connect? So first things first, let's make sure that we set the data source for our repeating group from our API. So take the external call and take the one that we just defined, the get all restaurants. It's right here, right? You can just click on this. So now that we have this, it's visible right here, and it means that this is pulling the data from the database. But we need to show each row right here on our repeating groups, right? So let's take each element in the repeating group. So the first one's gonna be the image, right? The photo of the restaurant. So go here where it says dynamic image. So make sure to take the current sales item and just select the photo. And the reason why we can see all the fields here is because Bubble remembers when we initialize the actual API call. So now that this is working, let's do the same thing for the title. So this is going to be the name of the restaurant. Again, we're going to take the current sales item and make sure to take the name this time, right here, right? And yeah, that should be that. Next thing is the actual review. So that's the info field. Again, click on the dynamic one and go here. Yeah, take all the restaurants and take the item. And in this case, it's going to be the info field, right? So now that we've actually connected all the data, let's quickly refresh so that this takes effect. And let's go back to our main page right here. And there you go, the restaurant is being shown on our main page. This is exactly what we wanted. So what's the next step, guys? The next step is going to be to actually edit this. And now let's quickly switch back to Bubble. And what we want to do now is when we click on a specific cell, we are going to move to a different page where we can actually edit all the data. So click on this workflow, and here you'll be able to add an action. In this case, we're going to take the navigation and go to page. So in our case, we are going to go to the restaurant page, right? So right here. But make sure to send the ID of the restaurant. So just take the current cell's ID, in this case PK, and this is the actual ID that's going to be sent in the URL. So once we refresh, let's just see if this is working. We click right here, and yeah, you can clearly see that in our URL we have the ID of the actual restaurant. So based on this ID, we're actually going to pull all the data and display it on this here page. You can clearly see that this is the update page that we were talking about, and the ID is going to be needed to pull all the data from our API. And in order to do that, right, we need to now implement the other restaurants route in our API. So let's quickly go back to CodeSmash, and yeah, this is the one. You can see it's the restaurants route, but it has a parameter. So let's just check if this is working. Test route. Yeah, you can see that we're actually getting back the data. It's not an array anymore. It's just a single restaurant, which is actually what we needed. And now we're just going to use this route in Bubble. Here we can add another call. In this case, we are just going to add another call, and let's call this one get restaurant. So make sure to keep it as JSON for the data type, and get is, as you know, it's get method, which is fine. But in this case, we're going to add this number 1 because this indicates that this is a parameter that we're actually sending. And based on this parameter, we are going to get the correct restaurant from the database. So let's just take this ID, right, so that we can see if we're getting back the correct data. Yeah, we're seeing the data. This is the correct data. We can just save this. Let's go back to the design page. So let's switch to the actual restaurant page now. And we have to fill out all these values, right? So let's start from the photo. So this banner here, right, that's going to hold the photo, and all the other items are going to hold the text values like the name, the URL, and the actual review. So for this one, let's just go to the dynamic image, click this here. And now the only thing that we have to do is take the API call. Yeah, this is the one that we just added, the get restaurant. You can click on this here, and it's showing us the ID, but this is not what we want because we want the dynamic one to always change. So click on the dynamic part. And here you have to actually take what's in the URL, right? So depending on the restaurant that you click, you're going to have a different ID. So take this here and make sure to select the path and just close. So this is the actual URL, and we can see that from here we are going to extract the ID. So just close this, make sure to close this as well. You don't need this one either, but here you have to select what we want to display, and that in this case is the photo. So click on the photo. Right, so you can close this, and this should be fine now. Let's quickly refresh and see what happens. As you can see, we're actually getting the photo. This is exactly what we wanted. Yeah, so next let's go edit the other values, for example the name. So the name is going to be handled the same way. Just click on the element that's going to display and make sure to go and just select the actual content. So here you can click the dynamic part, take the API call, make sure to take this one, and again replace this with the dynamic call. Make sure to go to our URL, and yeah, we just want the path, which is the actual ID, and click close. Again, just close everything. Here only select the name this time, right? Because now in this input element we're showing the name. That should be fine. Let's handle the photo URL as well. Again, so take the dynamic part, select the API call, make sure to take the correct one, change the dynamic part here as well. So just type in URL. Yeah, it's easier to find this way. Yeah, take the URL, select the path, and just close everything. So great, we can now take the photo. Yeah, the photo's been selected. And let's now do the review. Again, the dynamic part. And here we're just going to take the API call, take the correct one, change the dynamic part, make sure to take the URL. And from the URL, like I said, just take the ID and close. So in this case, we just go for the info field, and that's going to be our review. Let's see if this is going to work. Perfect. So we're getting everything. We're getting the name, we're getting the URL, and the review. The only thing that's left is the actual title on top of our banner. So let's quickly do this one. So it's going to be somewhere here. We have to select the correct one, the correct element. Yeah. So that's the one, that's the text. And again, same thing. It's going to be a dynamic value. It's going to be the call, the API call. We need to select the correct one, the dynamic part. And this is going to be, of course, the URL, right? Because we need the ID. And just make sure to select the path because we only need the ID. Just close everything and take the name. Perfect. Let's go back to our page and refresh. And there you go. We are actually being shown the title. This is perfect, guys. So this is working. We're getting back a specific restaurant, and we can now actually edit this data, right? So let's see what we need to do to be able to save that. Let's go and do an action right here. First things first, we are going to make sure that we can go back to our main page. Let's see if this works. Okay, let's click on the banner. Perfect. We can now go back to the main page, and we can also go and look up the restaurant. So this is working fine. And like I said, yeah, when it comes to actual saving the data, this is also very important. And we want to edit this here. So we'll be able to save it to the database. And what we now need to do is just implement the save button. So we're going back to CodeSmash, and we're going to handle the put method, right? So the restaurant's route and the put method. So let's take some values here. These are the values that we are going to update, right? So the ID is going to stay the same. We're just going to add some different values for our body. And yeah, we can just change the review slightly. That's not a big deal. Oh, and also just make sure to change the name of the restaurant. so that we see that it was actually updated. And let's test. Okay, we're getting the success. We can refresh, and yeah, you can see it's in Tokyo now, and the review has also been changed. Let's move to the next one. We now have to actually initialize this so that we can see in Bubble that it's also working. Now we're gonna just create a new call, right? A new API call. It's gonna have the same URL. We're just gonna call it update restaurant, right? And make sure to take the put method. Like I said, the URL is the same. It's the put method right here, right? What else? Oh, change this to action so that we can invoke it when we click a button, right? And the return value is going to be text. So if it succeeds, it's just going to say success, right? And in this case, just make sure to paste in the body. But yeah, we have to take this and then paste it in, but make sure to actually add the parameters, right? So this is now hard coded, these values, and it's always going to be the same if we just leave them like this. So what we need is actual parameters. So use the less than and the greater than signs, and inside just add a name for the parameter, right? Like this. Okay, so this is going to be info. That's our review, and also change the photo as well. So this is going to be fine. And now you can actually, once that's done, right, now you can actually add the parameters. So just paste in some values. It looks good. Let's just modify it slightly. Okay, this looks good as well. And the restaurant is gonna be, this is in Tokyo, so in Nagoya, let's say. And I think this is fine. Make sure to add the ID so that we know what we're updating, and let's initialize the call. We're getting back success. That's fine. Okay, we can go and refresh to see if the changes took place. Yep, the restaurants in Nagoya, and the review has been changed. This is actually perfect, guys. So we can go on to the next step. The next step is to actually update the data when we click the save button. So just click on this workflow and make sure to select the plugins. Okay, we can see our update restaurant API call. Click here. And what we're also going to do is just move back to the main page, right? The index page. So click navigation and go to page. Once we've successfully updated everything, so click index here. That's fine. Oh, and make sure to also pass in the values from the elements, right? So this one is going to be the path, and here just take the URL, right? The main URL and the path, right? And you can close this, so the ID gets passed in. In this case, we are going to take the element, so make sure that this is dynamic, right? Click right here and just find the element, right? So this is going to be the name element, so that's the input element that contains the name. So when we change the name, we take the value, right? So just click on the value and do the same for info, but this one is the rich text input. So just find this one, so we can take that, and also the actual value property. So this is where the text comes from. For the photo, we do the same thing. Just find the input. Okay, we got it, and its value. This is perfect. So let's see if this is working. Let's go here, and we can now let's take this photo, right? So we're going to update the actual restaurant. This one looks nice. Okay, let's refresh so this takes effect. So instead of this, we're just gonna say this is a hotel, right? And we're gonna paste in the new photo. Just slightly change the review. This looks good. And let's save. Looks like it's fine. Yep, that's it, guys. So we made it. We were able to actually update this entry as well. This is awesome. So what's left now? The only thing that's now left to do on this particular page is actually to delete the review, right? So we have to implement that as well, right? So it's this here delete review button. So let's move on to the next one. So this is going to be handled by this here route, because you can clearly see the method is called delete, right? And let's just quickly go to our bubble website, which is fine. And again, it's very simple. Just add a another API call. Remember, the URL is going to be the same, so you can just paste it in. Let's call it delete restaurant, right? Okay, looks good. The return value is going to be text. Again, it's going to say success. If everything's fine, just paste it in. Oh, and make sure to select delete. And yeah, just take the ID. So now when we initialize this, it should delete our restaurant. Looks good. It says success. This is fine. Let's go to the website. We need to refresh for this to take effect. Yeah, as you can see, the restaurant is gone. This is perfect. So now we're going to take the post method again, and we need to add the restaurant again. Let's now add a different ID. Okay, we're in success again, meaning the restaurant has been added. Now we should see the restaurant again. Yep, it's right here. And now we need to just implement the actual method that's going to call this API. And in that case, just click on the workflow. When you're right here, right, just go and click on the action and make sure to select the plugins. And you can see that we also have the delete, right? Delete restaurant. So in this case, just select the ID. Make sure that it goes, comes from the actual URL, the page URL. So take that and choose the path to get only the ID, and that's going to be sent to our API. And once that's been deleted, let's just go back to the index page, right? So we select the index, and we should be good now. Looks good to go. Let's go back to our website and check it out. So the restaurant is here. Click on this one. Okay, and just delete review. And it looks perfect. It has deleted the actual restaurant, so that's fine. And now it's time to add the add review feature, and this is actually the most important one and the most complicated one, which is why we left it for the last example. So let's click on the add workflow first. So we first need to be able to navigate right to the new restaurant page, right? So this is this one. So just go here. Let's see if this is working. Should be working fine. Let's go. Click here. Yeah, it's taking us to the new review page. This is perfect. This is where we're going to add the values and just create a new review. So now we have to, like every time, just add a new call, right? The new API call, but this is going to be a post call, right? We can actually copy paste a lot of these values. So let's just click here to add the new call. Oh, and let's call it add restaurant. This is going to be the post method, right? And this is going to be an action because we're going to invoke it from a button click. The data type that's going to be returned is text. And the URL, just copy paste the previous one. Okay, looks nice. This is good. What else? Okay, the body. So the same things that we were updating, we are now just adding to the database. So this is fine. We can remove these, and let's just add some, temporary values so we can initialize this call. Just some random ID for our restaurant. Okay, this is gonna be the review, and of course let's not forget the actual photo. Okay, let's initialize the call. Success, perfect. So we now have a new restaurant in our database, but what we want is to actually do it from the UI. So let's do this part. So again, click add workflow and navigation, right? But this is going to go to the page. Okay. Yeah, now we can go back to the index page as well. And from this one, of course, just like we were able to previously, we can go to the new restaurant page. So let's implement the save button now. So again, click on add workflow. Perfect. And let's start adding the actions. So this is going to be our plugin, the add restaurant call for the API, right? Again, we have to implement first the ID, but in this case, actually, it's going to be just a generated number, right? A randomly generated number, because we don't have anything in the URL. Because we are adding a new restaurant, right? We are not clicking on an existing one. And let's just use some letters, random letters and numbers, and limit it to 20 characters, right? So we can just close this. So every time we add this, there's going to be a new random number for our ID, and for the name, we just have to find the correct element. It should be the input name. Yes, input restaurant name, and just take the value. Same thing for the body. This one's going to be rich text input. Exactly right here. Yeah, let's take this one, and let's take its value. And then the final one, right? So this is just gonna be the photo. Again, the value, and this looks amazing. Yeah, this looks perfect. Let's see if this is actually working, guys. Oh, and before we do that, let's just make sure that we navigate to the main page when the restaurant has been added. Perfect. So we can now refresh and see if this works. This is the first restaurant. This is fine. The only thing that we're going to do now is add some text. Okay, let's ask ChatGPT to write a review for a good steak restaurant, right? So this is so that we don't have to, do it, and that we have some nice formatting, right? Perfect. Let's just take this text. Awesome. Much easier. This is a lifesaver. Okay, so let's click on add review. Just paste this in. Okay, we can take this as the name, right? So name for the restaurant, review. We can format this so that we can make sure that actually, it's preserved. The formatting is going to be preserved in CodeSmash as well. When the data is saved, we need a photo, right? So let's quickly take a photo. Okay, this one looks nice. How about this one? Yeah, okay, let's take this one. Sure, looks amazing. Okay, we'll take this photo and just quickly paste it in. Nothing special. And yeah, we're done. Let's save. So this looks awesome, guys. Yeah, we can actually see that the new restaurant has been added and the formatting is there. Yeah, everything is there. The text is there just like we wanted it. But let's demonstrate how to update this, right? So what do we add? Oh, let's add a couple of emojis to the name. So right there, right there. Yeah, we can save this and see that it's working. So this is now pretty much done, but let's do one more, because we're also going to delete a restaurant. So let's take a Italian restaurant in New York. Okay, let's format this quickly. Perfect. This is looking great. Couple of more line breaks. Nice. Amazing. So we're now going to just save this and see what we get. Okay, there you go. This is the restaurant, and let's have a look. Yeah, it's loading perfectly fine. Let's go back to the main page and let's demonstrate how to delete a restaurant. This is the last one, so just click the delete review. And guys, this is working. So we're finally done, and as you can see, you can now use CodeSmash to work with Bubble. You don't need to save the data in Bubble directly, because as you know, it's just too expensive. So guys, if you like this video and you want to see more tutorials like this, for example, for your favorite website builder, be it Webflow or Web Studio or anything else, just let me know in the comments down below, and I'll make these new videos for you. Also, don't forget that if you want to get your hands on CodeSmash right now, you can head over to earlybird.so, and they're actually having a sale. So you can get your lifetime deal for CodeSmash for just either $99 or $199. And you don't have to pay a monthly subscription or any usage costs to CodeSmash at all. So this is just one-time payment, and you can use CodeSmash forever. So guys, now I just want to make a quick comparison between CodeSmash and Xano. And here you can see that you're actually getting for their free plan 100,000 total records. But that actually just means that you're getting 1 gig of database space. And once you've used that up, you basically have to move to their launch plan, which as you can see is just 3 gigs of space, which is really not that much. But what that actually translates to is $99 monthly. So you basically have to pay $100 each month to use Xano. Also, if we now go and contrast that with what AWS offers, you can see that it actually offers 25 gigs. Yeah, that's actually a whopping 25 gigs of database space on their free plan, right? So that's pretty much when it comes to the comparison. You're basically paying one-time payment for CodeSmash, and you're getting 25 gigs with each AWS account that you make. Or with Xano, you're basically just getting 3 gigs of space for $99 monthly, or it can go up to $1,440 depending on the system that you're utilizing, meaning their actual servers. While with the CodeSmash, it doesn't matter. It's always going to be a one-time payment, and whatever your usage is, you're just paying that directly to AWS. So guys, I hope you like this tutorial. More tutorials are on the way, so like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll talk to you next time.